Now that we are roughly 1 month into the NBA season, I want to go over 5 potential contenders to win it all this season and 3 teams I think are pretenders. Hello everyone and welcome back to Step Back with Zach, and in today's video, we're talking contenders and pretenders. Before we get started, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 65 subscribers by the end of the year, so your subscription would be greatly appreciated. So just to summarize what these mean, the contenders are the teams that I think are the most likely to compete for the championship and potentially win it, whereas the pretenders are teams who believe, or some believe, or they believe that they can win it all, where in reality, I don't think they can at all. So starting off with contender number 5. So this is the team that I think has the 5th most likely chance to win it all, and it is the San Antonio Spurs. Yes, I know. Y'all know me as a Wemby fan. I love Wemby. Wemby's my favorite player in the league. However, I personally don't think that this opinion has any bias to it. The San Antonio Spurs currently sit at 11-5 and are the 5th seed out west, where so far they are currently middle of the pack for kind of everything, which is a little bit weird, where they rank 15th in points, 11th in rebounds, and 14th in assists. Keep in mind, however, before Wemby went down, these numbers were actually a lot higher. So these have dropped significantly in his absence. They are also 15th in steals and 12th in blocks, which again is because Wemby has not been there for a while, because when he was there, again, these were higher. The San Antonio Spurs, however, are still top 10 in offense and defense, which is a rare feat in the NBA. They are 7th in offense and 5th in defense, and 6th overall in net rating. They are also 4th in total true shooting percentage. Like I mentioned just a little bit ago, Victor Wembanyama is unfortunately out and will still be out for another couple of weeks. The Spurs are currently without the reigning Rookie of the Year as well, Stephon Castle, who's also going to be out for a couple weeks, and they are also without their number 2 pick, Dylan Harper, who's been out for a long time and is still not expected to be back for a little while. The Spurs also started the season without De'Aaron Fox, who was recovering from surgery, so this team has been injury-riddled pretty much all season. However, the promising thing is they are still well above 500, like I said, sitting at 11-5 in the West. So far in the 4 games that Wemby has missed, the Spurs have gone 3-1, and in that little span, Stephon Castle has also been absent, where the Spurs are 2-1 in his absence. The Spurs are dominant at home, currently having one of the best home records in the NBA, where they are 8-2. The 2 losses coming of back-to-back games against the Golden State Warriors, where Steph Curry decided to turn back the clock and go nuclear. Having one game, so the first game that they played, he scored 45, and the game after that dropped 49. And both of these games were very close. The main reason that I see this team as contenders is because of Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama has a superpower where nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to go in the paint to score against him. This dude is a one-man wrecking crew and a one-man defense, and he is by far the best defensive player in the NBA. When Wemby is on the court, opponents are 10 points worse. Further backing the claim that Wemby is the best defensive player in the NBA, when he is on the court, the Spurs hold their opponents to 23.8 points in the paint per game, which would be by far number 1 in the entire NBA and probably in history as well if he played every minute. But obviously this is not plausible. The Spurs in general are 2nd in opponents' points in the paint, giving up 41.5 points per game there. Further showing that the Spurs team is insane at defending the rim. The San Antonio Spurs are also one of the deepest teams in the NBA. When fully healthy, they'll be bringing people like Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan off the bench. And Luke Cornett, Jesus. And they've still got Devin Vassell as well in the starting 5. They've got Harrison Barnes, Kelly Olynyk, who I don't actually, like that much. But these aren't just any random players. These are good NBA talents right here. The biggest downside overall for the San Antonio Spurs, though, I think, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree with, is their youth / lack of experience. Although the Spurs have added talent and veteran players who are going to be able to provide this experience, especially in the playoffs, their main players are still quite young. Hell, even De'Aaron Fox, who's not young in NBA terms at all, hasn't even made it out of the first round of the playoffs because he played in Sacramento. But bringing in Harrison Barnes last year and the veteran leadership of Chris Paul, who's no longer there unfortunately, I think helped the Spurs a lot. And then adding Luke Cornett this year, having Kelly Olynyk, Bismack Biyombo, and all these dudes, I think they're really going to be great mentors for the younger players. Now moving on to my first pretender of the video, and this one I may get some backlash for, but it is the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves currently sit with a record of 10-6, where they are 7th in the Western Conference. The biggest talking point about the Timberwolves at the moment is the fact that they are currently 0-6 against teams who are over 500. This Timberwolves team is currently bottom 10 in rebounds in the NBA and bottom 12 in assists. With them not really having a proper point guard on this team, they don't really seem to have the formula to make up for it. And for a team who has Rudy Gobert, who's known as one of the best, if not the best, defensive player of the 2010s or of this decade or of this era, whatever, Jaden McDaniels, who's an all-defensive caliber player, and Anthony Edwards, this team is only 14th in defense. If we know anything about this team, especially because they've pretty much brought back the exact same roster as last year, this team just cannot hold their own against the true contenders out there. Actually, I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to spoil it. You just get bad vibes from this Timberwolves team. Whenever I watch the Timberwolves, it's just kind of a snooze fest. Randall has been really good. Anthony Edwards still has also been really good with 26.5 points per game on pretty decent efficiency. However, I don't know. You watch this team and I don't get really good vibes. I don't really get good vibes from this team at all. I don't know how to explain it. I'm also a known Rudy Gobert hater. I don't like that guy. I just don't like him. I know he's a good defender. I'm not saying he's bad at that. I just think now his defense has obviously slipped, right? He's getting older. He's in his mid-30s or whatever, early to mid-30s. If your defense is slipping that much, you can't also be the worst offensive player in the NBA. The dude has butterfingers and he cannot catch a ball. Yes, he shoots really efficiently, but that's because all his shots come at the rim. He gets way too many turnovers for a center. I think he almost gets 2 a game, which is crazy considering he doesn't handle the ball. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. This one's more of a vibe one. I don't know. But again, that 0-6 record against teams that are over 500 is kind of scary. However, we know that this stat can kind of be weird because last year the Knicks sort of did a similar thing and ended up making it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, moving on to my 4th overall contender, meaning I think, once again, that this team has the 4th best chance to win it all, and is my only team out east, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers currently sit with a 12-6 record and a 3rd out east. They are led by an incredible duo of Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Donovan Mitchell is currently 5th in the NBA in scoring, averaging 30.8 points per game. And the other player I just mentioned, Evan Mobley, is the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Albeit because Wemby was not able to qualify, he's still a damn good defender. He averages just under 3 stocks per game. Many people, including myself, did believe that the Cavaliers would be the best team in the Eastern Conference this season, and although this record so far does not prove it, and neither does their seeding, you have to keep in mind that this team has been battling injuries all year. Only very recently has Darius Garland come back from his injured toe, and they have been without Max Strus all year. Also, they have just lost key role player Sam Merrill, and I don't know how long he's going to be out for, to be honest. But for all these injuries to pretty damn key players, sitting at 12-6 is pretty good. This team made a big switch last year, obviously not being able to re-sign Ty Jerome. They bring in Lonzo Ball, who they traded Isaac Okoro for. Lonzo Ball's averaging something along the lines of 5, 6, and 5 this season, and he's been pretty fun to watch off the bench, honestly. He's a good backup point guard for this team. If there's one thing we know about Cleveland, it's that their backcourt defense isn't very good. So bringing in Lonzo helps this as well, a shit ton. Now, for a team that's usually very good in offense, they currently sit as the 14th best offense in the league, which is mostly due to the fact that Darius Garland has been absent. However, this team is 6th in defense. This is very impressive because, again, I mentioned the lack of backcourt defense. So being 6th in defense is very damn good. They are having players step up in a big way like DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley's continuing to do his thing, Jarrett Allen's been pretty good at anchoring down low, and Donovan Mitchell hasn't been a slouch on that side of the ball either. And like I said, Lonzo Ball's a really good defender as well. They've also had some great contributions from some very young players. like Jalen Tyson, like Tyrese Proctor, like Craig Porter Jr., who's currently out, and Naquan Tomlin. The Cleveland Cavaliers are also with one of the best coaches in the NBA, the reigning coach of the year, Kenny Atkinson. I overall just honestly have really good faith in this Cleveland Cavaliers team to pick it up, especially when they are fully healthy. Their ceiling to me is the absolute highest out east. Moving on to my second pretender of the video, and that is, and this kind of hurts my heart, the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers currently sit with a record of 12-4 and are second in the Western Conference. This team is also the only team in the NBA that is undefeated so far in clutch games. So because of this stat and this record, you might be thinking, well, why the hell do you have them in your pretenders? Well, simply because I don't believe in this defense at all. This defense still sucks. Luka has improved, but he's still a liability on that side. Austin Reeves can't defend a bloody traffic cone. DeAndre Ayton's also just a goofball. LeBron is 40. He's going to be 41 next month, and Rui's just kind of average. Jared Vanderbilt is one of their better defenders, but he sucks so bad on offense that he is unplayable. And Marcus Smart, yes, he's a dog and he's a really good defender. However, he's only 6'3" and he's injury prone, and he makes some pretty dumb decisions sometimes as well. And he's also a bad offensive player. So the main gripe I have with this Los Angeles Lakers roster is the defense. And that is the main reason why I just can't see them winning an NBA championship. Do I think that this record is like fake? No, because they are a good team. Hell, when you have one of the best offensive players ever in Luka Doncic, who, mind you, is currently leading the NBA in scoring, you are going to win games. And all this scoring, he's not shooting the ball very well, especially from three. Like I mentioned with those other pieces as well, the supporting players are just so mid, so average. Jake LaRavia has been kind of all over the place. He's had some really good games, he's had some average games, and he's had some poor games. Dalton Connect's proved unreliable, Bronny James still sucks. There's just no real promise with this team. The good news is that this team was able to win 10 games without LeBron James, where they are currently 2-0 since he has returned. These games were both against the Jazz, and the second of which they only won by 2 points, I think it was. The Lakers are also just a very, very average NBA team when we look at their advanced stats. They currently sit 15th in offense, 14th in defense, and 15th in net rating. So, like I said, very, very average, quite literally. This team's also just a little bit too slow for my liking, being 16th in pace. Luka Ball is really fun to watch because he will pretty much always score on whoever, except this heliocentric style won't get them very far in the playoffs. The good thing is, though, that this team overall shoots really well. They are second in true shooting percentage. So overall, again, the defense is what screams to me the most as the thing that is going to let the Lakers down, especially in the playoffs. They will continue to be a good regular season team, but once they come against those really quick, fast, athletic teams, I just don't see them going very far. Next, we move on to my third contender, and this one was a bit of a toss-up from me, and again, I think these top three are pretty unanimous. And it was kind of hard because I did want to put these guys as number 2, but then I just can't. All right, my number 3 contender is the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets currently sit with a record of 10-4. At the time of recording, they are playing later today, but I don't want to wait, and are currently the 4th seed in the Western Conference. The Houston Rockets are coming off a very, very surprising and impressive season last year, where they finished with 52 wins, finishing as the 2nd seed in the West. And they didn't really lose anyone. Yes, they lost Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. However, when you bring in Kevin Durant, nullifies that immediately. You'd rather have Kevin Durant than those two. The three-headed monster of Kevin Durant, Alperen Şengün, and Amen Thompson has looked so good this year. Alperen Şengün has improved so much. This dude is one of the best creators we have in the NBA. Whether that's facing up or having his back to the basket, he's able to be the Houston Rockets' main hub and source of offense. One of the big questions we had for Houston for the season, especially after Fred VanVleet went down, is where is their offense going to come from? And Şengün's answered that call, man. He really, really has. This is a bit of a side note. This is just a me thing. There's one thing that pisses me off about Şengün, and it's the fact that I think he complains more than anybody in the NBA. More than Luka, more than whoever. This dude whinges and bitches about everything. However, elite touch around the rim, improved three-point shooter, improved jump shooter in general, Şengün has had a great start to the season. And then Kevin Durant, although being kind of inconsistent this year, to be honest, he's still Kevin Durant. This guy's proven in a few games this season that he is still an elite closer, especially that game against the Magic. I've got a bit of a gripe with Kevin Durant though, and it's, why are we being so passive? You're literally Kevin Durant. Go and score. Go and get a bucket, dude. He just looks so timid. Does anyone else think that? Kevin Durant just looked really timid? Is that just me? As someone that's watched Kevin Durant for like a decade now, yes, he's 37. I know he's 37. But go and get a bucket, KD. You're still the man. Go and score. And Amen Thompson has just also continued to be his elite, freakish athlete self, being an incredible perimeter defender. This team is also one of those rare teams that has a superpower. And this superpower is their rebounding, especially their offensive rebounding. Steven Adams, my Kiwi brother, shout out New Zealand, is the driving force of this ability and superpower to clean the offensive glass. He gives the team so many extra possessions. And in all this, it results in the Houston Rockets clearly being the #1 rebounding team in the league. But it's not just Steven Adams that does this. Clint Capella goes and gets boards. Amen Thompson's a really good offensive rebounder for his position. Şengün's a good rebounder. Everybody does their part on the glass. The Houston Rockets are currently the #1 offense in the NBA and the #8 defense. So again, being one of those teams who are top 10 in both offense and defense. They also have the #2 overall net rating. Keep in mind, all of this has been while the Houston Rockets have been pretty beaten up as well. Obviously losing Fred VanVleet before the season, and still not having Dorian Finney-Smith suit up, and just recently losing Tari Eason. Their other players have really stepped up, like Reed Shepherd, like Josh Okogie, Aaron Holiday's been really good. Jayshawn Tate's just, he's just kind of been there. Clint Capella's been pretty damn good as well. Jabari Smith is someone as well who I think has just stepped up massively and has improved his game a lot to fit in more seamlessly with this new look team. And overall, alongside the Detroit Pistons, I think that this team is the most physical team in the NBA, and they will beat you up on defense. Now for my final pretender, and this one, once again, I may get some flack for, and this is definitely an unpopular opinion, it's the New York Knicks. Now, before you come at me with your pitchforks and your torches, hear me out. I originally had the Golden State Warriors in this spot, but ultimately I did just want to include an Eastern Conference team. The New York Knicks currently sit with a record of 9-6 and a 6th in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks, they just look weird. They're not fun to watch. Does anyone else feel like that? I don't like watching the Knicks. They are boring. The main thing that I think is going to hold the Knicks back is their lack of offense around Jalen Brunson. And you might be thinking, whoa, but Cat's there. Cat's really good at offense. And yeah, in a ideal world, yeah, he is. But this year, he's really not been playing well. He's just been straight up bad for his standards. He's having a very down year where this year he's averaging 21.7 points per game on 42.9% from the field. He's also shooting 31.8% from 3 on 6 attempts a game and has an overall true shooting percentage of 57.1. And this is only because his free throw percentage is pretty high. The dude has shot almost as many threes this season as he has shots at the rim. He has only shot 3 less threes. And he has just been bad at jump shooting, where he is 40 of 127 on jump shots this year, which is 31.5%. You cannot claim to be the best shooting big man ever with these numbers, Karl Anthony Towns. You cannot do that. How are you 7 feet tall shooting 43% from the field? Pull your head out of your ass, Cat. You're not shooting well this year. Go and use your big ass body to score down low. Karl Anthony Towns is the main reason that I do not believe in the Knicks. And then Cat's also a really, really bad defender. And this is news to nobody. The dude sucks at defense. He, again, 7 foot tall with a much longer wingspan. I don't have the exact measurement in front of me right now, but the dude just doesn't know how to move his feet. He doesn't know how to defend without fouling. He does not do well on defense. You cannot have a championship team where your 2 best players are shit on defense. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are awful on defense. And then along with Cat's really bad performance and their 2 defensive liabilities as best players, their depth is so average. They are 16th in bench points per game and are the 4th worst offensive bench in the NBA. The Knicks are, to be fair to them, 3rd in offense this year. However, they are 18th in defense. So this kind of cancels each other out. I don't know, I've just been really underwhelmed with the Knicks this year. I don't know what it is. OG's missing a couple games at the moment. Mikal's looked pretty good. The shooting's improved. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't believe in the Knicks. And I'm sorry if you're mad at me for that opinion. It's just my opinion. This is all my opinion, okay? Now, my number 2 contender in the NBA, and this is again, these last two are going to be to no one's surprise. Number 2 is the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets currently sit with a record of 12-4 and are the 3rd seed in the Western Conference. Straight up, the Nuggets have the best player in the world. Nikola Jokic is insane. He's a god, right? He's a basketball wizard. He's putting up historic stats again, averaging 30, 11, and 13 on a wild 73% true shooting. He's on pace to win another MVP. And if you think otherwise, you're an idiot. He alone has an offensive rating of 127 this year, which is a career high for him, and has an overall net rating of 15.6. He's absolutely unstoppable down low, where he shoots 82% at the rim. And a wild stat, shoots 71% on 2-point shots. That is from anywhere inside the 3-point line. Crazy. I could talk about Jokic for hours, but I'm not going to do that here because this isn't a Jokic thing, this is a Nuggets thing. Although Jokic is the reason the Nuggets are here, right? Flat out, straight up. Jokic also has this insane ability to make other players around him better. Except Cam Johnson, apparently. Cam Johnson is still yet to find his rhythm. The dudes look terrible this year. The Nets seem to have won the trade so far. Jamal Murray as well has finally decided to start a season right. He's averaging a career high points, and he's looking like he could make a case for an all-star team this season, especially with the new all-star format. Aaron Gordon as well has looked really good, where he started the season having that incredible 50-point game, making 10 for 11 from 3. However, he is now out again for a while with a hamstring injury. Is it the same hamstring? I have no idea, but he's not going to be there for a little bit. Christian Brown also is injured at the moment. He was kind of average this season, but he's definitely their best perimeter defender, so this may hurt them, but it's not like he's going to be out forever. And again, just like a couple of the other teams that we have talked about so far, this team is top 10 in both offense and defense, sitting with the 2nd best offense and the 9th best defense, and the overall 3rd best net rating. Now, if we were talking about a one-possession offense, I personally think that the Denver Nuggets look better than the Houston Rockets. And that's ultimately why I put the Denver Nuggets above the Houston Rockets. This is just slightly. But if we're going on a one-possession basis, like including you shoot it, no matter what happens, you don't get the ball back, I think the Nuggets just do that better than the Rockets. They put up the 2nd most points per game with 123.8, while giving up only 113.8 to their opponents, and have the best field goal percentage in the league, being at 50.6%, which is kind of nuts. And this is pretty high considering their 3-point percentage is kind of middle of the pack. They also give up the 5th least amount of rebounds while grabbing the 5th most per game. They also dish out the 6th most assists per game. And most of this is entirely Jokic. That didn't make any sense. Most of this is entirely something that doesn't make any sense. Most of this is because of Jokic. They also score the 5th most points in the paint. Again, Jokic, just dominant down there. They're also really good at protecting the ball, where they give up the 4th least amount of points off turnovers, the 5th least second chance points, and the 6th least fast break points per game. They do only average 14 turnovers a game, which is 4th in the NBA. The one thing about this record, however, that I have found is that the Nuggets have had a pretty damn easy schedule so far. And the thing that's kind of concerning is that recently they did just lose to the Bulls and the Kings. Both of these games, Jokic putting up some insane numbers, but they did in fact beat the Houston Rockets by 3 points in the recent games as well. The Nuggets are still yet to play some of the top other teams like the Lakers or the Thunder or the Raptors or the Pistons or some of these teams. However, I do think the Nuggets are going to be able to hold up. However, I do not put them above my number 1 contender. And finally, my number 1 contender, to no one's surprise, and if you are surprised, you need to get your head checked, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder currently sit with a record of 17-1 and are 1st in the entire NBA. The Thunder have looked even better than last year, and J-Dub has yet to play a single game. They've also been pretty injury-riddled too. Chet's missed 4 games himself, Lou Dort's missed games, Caruso's missed games, Casey Wallace has missed games, Aaron Wiggins has missed games, Isaiah Joe's missed games. However, who hasn't missed any games? The reigning MVP, SGA. Shai is currently averaging 32.2 points per game on 62.7% true shooting. which is incredible for a guard. He's shooting a percentage from 2-point field goal range that is up there with prime Shaq, which is nuts. This dude shoots mid-range jumpers, and he's so good at finishing at the rim. One of the most efficient players in the NBA today, he's almost averaging 50-40-90. He basically is. He's just averaging 89.8% from the free throw line. So if he just gets that up by 0.2, he's averaging 50-40-90 quite convincingly. He's averaging like 54+% from the field, 41+% from three. Do I think these numbers could hold? Probably not the 3-point. I think the field goal percentage and the free throw percentage will. The one game they lost was to the Portland Trail Blazers, who themselves have been kind of all over the place this season anyway. But in this game, they were without Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, and Alex Caruso. Very, 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 very important players to this team, yet they only lost by 2 points. And the Portland Trail Blazers were without any major absences themselves, so this just makes the fact that this game was that close even crazier. Just goes to show you how good Shea is. The Thunder score the 4th most points per game in the NBA, where they average 122.6. However, scoring's not where we know them to be the best. Their defense is what stands above the rest. They give up the least amount of points per game, only giving up 105.7, while having the 5th best true shooting percentage in the NBA. They again are top 10, they are actually top 5 in both offense and defense this year, where they are 4th in offense and 1st in defense by a landslide. They have a defensive rating of 102.8. Second place, Detroit, with a 110. Like I said, landslide. They also have the best net rating by far, with a 16.9. And if they can keep this up, it's going to be the best net rating ever. By almost 3. Sorry, by a little over 3. Just another thing, they average the 2nd least amount of turnovers per game. They average the most steals per game and the 6th most blocks per game. The Thunder force their opponents to not score the ball, obviously, where they give up the least amount of field goal makes per game, while only giving up the 7th least amount of attempts. They give up the 8th least amount of free throws as well, meaning they're pretty damn good at defending without fouling. They force the most turnovers in the NBA at 18.4. And because of this, they score the most points off turnovers with 25.1 a game. This team legit has 5 players who could realistically make all defensive teams. Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace. There is a case that all of these dudes could just make one defensive team themselves. Their team chemistry is also the best in the NBA. Literally the best. I was watching the game against the Portland Trail Blazers, and when Rayan Rupert just pulled AJ Mitchell to the ground, you just saw Isaiah Hartenstein and Caruso just sprint over from one side of the court to the other to confront Rayan Rupert about this. This team just knows how to play with each other. And because of this, every player has accepted their role and bought into the culture of this team. No egos. No egos at all. One of the reasons that some people were saying the Thunder wouldn't repeat is their lack of ball handling off the bench. Well now, AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell has stepped up massively and is a frontrunner for the 6th Man of the Year award in my opinion, and potentially the most improved as well. And with AJ Mitchell showing this talent and ability to be the lead ball handler, the Thunder can rest a lot easier when Shea and J-Dub are off the court. This dominance has happened with Shea sitting out the entire 4th quarter of 10 or 11 games. So out of the 18 they've played, they have dominated teams so badly 11 times to the point where Shea just doesn't even need to touch the court in the 4th quarter. Do you know how nuts that is? This team doesn't need the full 48 minutes to beat teams. They only need 36 minutes. So yes, the Thunder are the top contender in the league, 100%. And with that, we wrap up my contenders and pretenders. If you agree with any of these or disagree with any of them, let me know in the comments below. Let's keep it civil. There's no need to get angry. But yeah, that's all I have. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next one. Rolling slow. Yeah.